Do you suffer from anxiety? More specifically, health anxiety. Today, I'm talking with Jodi, who has battled with health anxiety and OCD, both of which have made her everyday life challenging. Hear how Reorigin's brain retraining program, using neuroplasticity, has helped Jodi rewire her brain's response to symptoms and reclaim her life.
The first is the everyday layer, which is probably the most impactful. I'm sleeping, which is amazing, but I get up and I'm not dragging myself out of bed every morning anymore. And it's not an overnight process. So when I still have anxiety triggers, now instead of it going on for hours and hours or days, or it could be weeks or months, now if I use the tools, I'm able to move past it in a matter of minutes usually, or maybe a little bit longer, but I can actually move past it.
My name is Jodi, and I am in the 28th day, the last day of the video series for Reorigin. I absolutely love the program. I've been through many, and while some of them helped me a little, Reorigin's just a whole different thing. It's a community, and at first that scared me because I'm not the most social person, but having the community's been amazing. When you're having a bad day, just getting on the feed and having other people encourage you and see all of their wins has been just helpful beyond words. I can't say enough about the whole program. It's laid out super easy. I've done things in the past where it's hours and hours a day, and that is not Reorigin. They are not trying to stress you out and make it worse. It's one little step each day, and they're easy, and they are, well, I welcome it every day. I get up and look forward to it instead of being like, oh, I have to watch the videos. I have to do the long form. I look forward to it. It's like the first thing I want to do in my morning. You don't have to do it first thing in the morning. That's just me. I just can't say enough about the whole thing. Ben and Katie and everyone there is just amazing and helpful. And I just highly, highly recommend it. My personal issue is OCD and health anxiety, and I've been trying to get it under control for many, many, many years, most of my life. But now I'm actually seeing already, just after 28 days, improvement where I can stop the cycle. And it's going to be a long journey, but it's going to be easier now because I have tools and the support of the great community. So I just thank you. I can't thank you enough. I'm so glad I found you. I would definitely recommend this to anyone who would be on the fence. Do it.
Hello, Jodi. Thank you for joining me and sharing your experience with Reorigin on your healing journey.
Hi, it's nice to be able to talk to you today.
All right. So let's talk about the conditions that you were dealing with when you first started at Reorigin. And how did you experience those symptoms? How they affected your daily life?
Okay. So I've had generalized anxiety my entire life since I was a little kid. And I've had health anxiety my whole life. OCD was kind of in the background. I had it, but it wasn't like the primary issue. Over the past several years, the health anxiety and OCD have both really become prominent, and we're making it just hard to get through a day.
Sure. And what were some of the challenges you had that made it hard to get through the day?
So where I was at is I wasn't sleeping because of the anxiety. So that was just making everything worse. And then I would not want to get out of bed in the morning. I would force myself out of bed in the morning because there's no choice. And I would decide on whatever anxiety thing I was worried about that day. I would start the body scanning and what am I worried about today? And then I would focus on one thing and obsessively just check it over and over and over. And then I would start Googling the symptoms and what's the worst case scenario over and over and over. And this would just go on all day. It would go on in the middle of the night. I wouldn't sleep. And if I get up one more time and just Google it one more time, I'll feel better, which is a lie. So, and the lack of sleep, and it would just cycle and go on and on and on.
Yeah, that sounds tough. Can you describe what your life was like before your illness? Like the activities you were involved in?
So for me, I've had anxiety since I was a little kid. So I pretty much avoided everything my entire life, quite honestly. Anything I didn't have to do, I did not do. The things I did do, I was usually forced to do. And I would go through periods of being better, like a little bit better, and then I get worse for a while and say, oh, it's just a bad week. But if you looked back, it was never really getting any better. So I never really had a time that things were normal.
Sure. What were your hardest days? Like, what did they look like during your illness?
So my hardest days were for a while. I had quit my job years ago because I was convinced if I just quit my job, everything will be fine and I'll feel better. And that makes it worse because you have nothing in your life. So all you're doing is ruminating on things all day long. And so that actually led me to get worse. And I ended up basically housebound and pretty much bedbound for a while. I couldn't eat because of the anxiety. I lost massive amounts of weight. I was just forcing myself to get anything down, not to land in the hospital. Just getting through a minute of the day was hard. Like not getting through an hour, getting through a whole day seemed impossible. So it was all about get through the next minute, get through the next minute. And that was definitely the hardest time.
Yeah, that sounds very challenging. Were there any other treatments that you tried before you came to Reorigin?
Yes, I have tried basically everything you could think of. Um, I did anything that was out there that said it might help, I would try. I tried a million different supplements. I tried medication for a short time, several doctors. You name it. If they said there was a tea that would help, I'd go buy the tea. Whatever they said would work, I would try it.
Sure. And I know you're not alone in that many people find themselves out there, grasping onto anything that,
Yeah.
you know, says it might help you.
Mhm.
How did you find out about Reorigin? What made you decide to try it?
So it was kind of funny. I was coming out of another program that was more for just regulating your nervous system. And so I had been like looking at lots of videos online of different meditations and exercises, things that you could do to help get your nervous system calm down. And one of my suggested videos was Reorigin, and it was one of Ben's videos. And so I watched it and found it really interesting. And so looked to see what other videos were out there for Reorigin. And that is how I ended up finding Reorigin.
Very nice. So glad you did. Did you have any hesitation at first to starting the program?
100%. When you spend your whole life looking for any kind of answer and you don't get it, you stop really believing anything's going to help. So I was super skeptical. And my husband said, what else do you have to lose? Just try it. Like, worst case, it doesn't work. And so, yeah, I went in very skeptical, but I joined.
I like your husband's advice.
Right?
What do you have to lose? Sure, sure. So what was your experience like when you first started Reorigin program?
It was really good. It's funny because I came in with the mindset of I'm going to go through the videos, I'm going to learn the tools. I don't want to interact with anyone. I'm going to knock off the things I have to do and that's it. And it so changed when I got there because I joined the Q&As when I was able, and that was amazing. And then that led me to get involved in the forum, and I realized how the whole program is just so great all together.
Yes, it's very community-based, and a very supportive community. Yes, very much so. What is your life like now? What are your biggest wins, challenges, breakthroughs, that kind of stuff after doing the Reorigin program?
So there's kind of two layers of that. The first is the everyday layer, which is probably the most impactful. I'm sleeping, which is amazing, but I get up and I'm not dragging myself out of bed every morning anymore. And it's not an overnight process. So when I still have anxiety triggers now, instead of it going on for hours and hours or days, or it could be weeks or months, now if I use the tools, I'm able to move past it in a matter of minutes usually, or maybe a little bit longer, but I can actually move past it. And then I also love the forum because after I use the tools, a lot of times I'll get into the forum and just realizing that other people are going through similar things just helps me get calmed down and back on track. And then I can go back on with my day and have a good day instead of spending the entire day ruminating on something.
Sure.
And then the second level is I've been trying to make up for doing nothing my entire life and avoiding things. So we have been going on little adventures and doing things. And like the other day, we did a helium balloon ride overlooking Niagara Falls, something I would have never, ever, ever considered doing. But I actually enjoyed it. Like I had fun and I was in the moment and it wasn't just being miserable the entire time in the back of my head. So it's really just given me some happiness again.
That's wonderful. And it's been an honor watching you go through this healing process and start, doing things again and really living, really feel like
Thank
you're
you.
living. Yes.
Thank you.
Now, when you are talking about these tools that you have used, what are some of your favorite tools that the Reorigin program has given you?
So the main two tools are usually the short form and the long form. And I do the long form every day, but the short form is what gets me through the day. I believe you used the analogy once that the long form is like your medicine and the short form is like your rescue inhaler. And I loved that. I loved when you said that because I'm like, oh, that really is what it is. And the short form helps me get through the initial anxiety that creeps up. And then, like I said, getting onto the forum and just, even if I don't interact that day, just seeing, okay, there's other people and they get it. And seeing their wins just helps. It really, really helps.
Yeah, definitely. The community helps you feel less alone in what you're going through and provides so much support and information to get through. Yeah, absolutely. What message would you like to share with someone who's looking to start or considering starting Reorigin program?
I would use my husband's advice. What do you have to lose? Seriously, at some point, it's like, what do you have to lose? It gave me hope back because coming in, I really was kind of hopeless. I was like accepting the fact of, okay, this is how I'm going to live the rest of my life. And it finally gave me hope of, oh, it doesn't have to be this way. And it's not going to be an overnight fix. Usually most of the things out there that are an overnight fix don't actually work. This takes work, but it's an actual solution and it actually will help. So I would say do it.
Perfect. Perfect. How would you describe Reorigin to someone new?
It's kind of like a lifeline. It walks you through every day in the beginning when you're going through the videos. For me, I looked forward every morning to getting my coffee or tea and then going and sitting and doing the videos because each day it's like a little lifeline that gives you a new piece of the puzzle of what you can do to keep getting better and better and better. It's just a wonderful program and it's absolutely worth it 100%.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, just I would do it. And if it gave me hope back, it can give you hope back and it can give you your life back. It really, really can.
And how would you consider your generalized anxiety or your health anxiety at this point?
Much better. Much, much better. It's still there. I think it's something I will have my entire life, but it doesn't rule my life now. It was ruling every second of every day. And now I can acknowledge it's there, move through it, and move on with my day. So it's not dictating every single second of my day anymore.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you so much for sharing your story, your healing journey here with Reorigin. It's been fantastic to see you evolve and grow and just become, a happier person with your life right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And thanks again for sharing your story.
Of course. Of course.
Jodi's story is living proof that healing is possible, even when it feels out of reach. Using the Reorigin brain training reprogram has allowed her to now manage her anxiety instead of her anxiety managing her. If you are ready to take control of your life, head over to Reorigin and get started today.